Today's episode of Garth Spotlight will feature Mick, a professional gamer, and he will be telling us about DreamHack. And we'll be going a little bit over the esports. So stay tuned. Roll the credits, guys. Alright, welcome back. We're here with Akuma and Ryu. We're here to show you guys what's down. But really, it's just Garth and Mick. But we're here to experience a little about esports, and it's a big industry. It's been evolving over time. And you've been through quite a bit of this. How long have you been?
I'd say like competitively, maybe active in the last like 2 to 3 years.
And how volatile has the industry been in that 2 to 3 years?
Oh my gosh. That's a loaded question. You ready for the loaded question?
Yes,
well, I'll give you a loaded answer. Here we go. I can tell you when I first began, I was still very much so getting, like used to it. And back then, you still had like mom and pop kinds of tournaments, right? Yeah. Even still, like then, like you still had like Evo was pretty huge. You had CEO. Like, this is more in the fighting game market, but anyway. But definitely around that time, things like Dota and League were a little bit more set in stone. But anyway, I could really tell you that the transition and the stages that I was going through would take like leaps of time. Like things would happen in pacing. You'd be like, yay, maybe one day it will happen, and you're like creaking and you're walking. But now in this year alone, there's been, I could tell you, like huge changes. There's been like 3 huge changes in this year alone to the industry. And it is done mostly by like big teams that are coming in, and I think we'll probably talk about that a little later of like who's now getting involved. But just on that announcement alone, that's like Canada.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
It's a big deal itself.
So me and Mick did talk about this a little bit, but also I want to put into perspective. The first one was like Space Wars, and it was like 1975. That's a long time ago, and this was like arcade machines they lined up. From that to going through an industry where we had League of Legends, which was the biggest pot that first came out, where they have professional teams. You were laying it down, 5-man teams. They have to train together. They need to know their team, their routine, their formations. It got that complex to a point that we have visas just for gaming, which is incredible. Like, that's legit sports now. And then we do have people who say it shouldn't be on TSN, but it should be. It is a sport, it's competition, and there is no joke to the injuries. What would some of the injuries be, Mick?
Oh, my finger hurts.
I know it's... But it doesn't just lead to that. There's been like that League of Legends match that I remember one guy stopped playing in the tournaments, and he was one of the top team members because of the wrist. He overused it, and he couldn't use it anymore. And when I was doing research like
Carpal tunnel's real, man.
It's real, and it happens faster. So you are putting yourself out there. It's not a simple thing, right? Mm-hmm. And it's hard for people to understand this, but it's a job. It's almost a job. You're getting paid to do a job. And when I was growing up, I was pretty sure my parents were like, yeah, you're not going to get a career off of gaming. Get out of here. Now I could be to my son, it's like, that's a career choice. If you want to do that, we're going to do it seriously.
You're not going to do it like me, boy. I grew up playing too many games. If you were actually focused like me, like I should have been, you'd be like a god. Mm-hmm. And that's what you probably want to create nowadays. But, like, on your point, like, yeah, I laugh and joke about it. But literally, you could be, like, hurting one day with a finger or maybe a little knuckle or something. And it will actually impact your gameplay, obviously, right? It's going to. And there's other, like, we still have to deal with health problems, right, as human beings. And that's on top of, oh, crap, I'm sore today. Like, this is swollen. I can't, like, move as fast as I'm supposed to if you're using mouse and keyboard or maybe arcade stick.
And arcade sticks, if you've seen Daigo with that amazing Chun-Li block there, just the amount of skill that requires that split second is to put into that perspective, right? It's not something that we can say, oh, he's pressing 3-4 buttons. It's that split timing and second that counts, right?
Yeah. Well, he's tapping the arcade. I don't have an arcade stick here. I do have one at home. But anyways, like, it's literally he's tapping the joystick of the arcade stick like this. But you have to be so precise and, like, just the speed of it. And you also have to know the pattern of it as well. Mm-hmm. So the pattern of it changes when you're parrying, too. So he's doing this. And you're like, oh, that's all he's doing. It's like, then I tried it. I'm like, No, I'm getting wrecked by you. It's timing, it's execution, it's precise too. And he also did the punish with it, right? That's a very famous video you're talking about.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like Evo moment number 37 or something. I'm sorry, guys, but
it's like it's one of those moments where I'm just like, I want to be like that. I go pick up the controller and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. This is not how he did it.
What? Yeah, it's hard.
And another thing that was there is like it's a big research aspect. It's not like you walk in, choose a character, and you're playing. You played hours training in the room, just like trying to figure out combos. Mm-hmm. So how did you prep for DreamHack? What type of training did you do, if you were to briefly talk about it?
Oh. I'm sorry. I'm laughing because if this was like Killer Instinct or Street Fighter 4, it was literally a plan. There was a huge plan to it. Mm-hmm. Not that there isn't a plan for Street Fighter 5. The thing about Street Fighter 5 is that Capcom made the game easier to access, easier to play. So because of this, it allowed like new players to get into the game and just get used to it and be able to play.
So I had a quick question about, sorry to cut you off there.
Sure.
Is it easier to play instead like Marvel vs. Capcom, you have a simple mode? Are we talking like that where it helps you, or what do you mean by easier?
Yeah, so a lot more like the base of the game is still there, like it's still Street Fighter, but the execution, so very quickly, frames is like the big thing you hear in fighting games, like how fast is this, and we'll talk about it in frames, like this is frame 2, this is frame 3, 4, yada yada yada. Anyways, there are combos in Street Fighter that you have to be frame perfect, position perfect,
right,
and just maybe even like on the screen perfect, like actual space, like not just spacing, but like where you are on the screen. There's also character specific. Anyways, so many different aspects to being specific for certain combos and meaties and strings and situations that you don't have to think about anymore. Also things like option selects, where you can press like 3 different options and it'll pick the best one. Like the computer chooses the best one for that and you'll end up winning it.
Right.
So Street Fighter 5 says no more option selects. I'm sorry, I agree with option selects. It just didn't make too much sense. But regardless, they took option selects out, which you have to now commit to what you're doing, defensively or offensively. You also have things like there's no more one frame, like be specific on the move, like to make combos happen. So like combos that you needed to have like perfect position, which is exactly with one frame links, where you're going, maybe you're on the joystick, you had to go light, medium, heavy or something like that, and you have to be like perfect. If you hit it one frame off, you're dropping the combo, and that's a punishment.
Right.
And that's the game. It could be the game sometimes. So things like that, or button inputs, small things like that. Not a lot of charge characters. A whole bunch of things.
Right.
I can go on forever.
Right. I get you there.
But to get to the point, really, it's like they just made it easier to play. So someone like anyone who's like, I don't know how to play fighting games, well, pick up Street Fighter 5. Really, the basic thing you need to learn is spacing. And that goes leaps and bounds. Really, spacing is the most important thing that stayed relevant, and it's in the game, no matter how you say it. Even if the neutral is dumbed down as it is, spacing is very important.
So training really differs now.
That's the thing. You can learn spacing easily. You just gotta get used to it, and also you gotta train with it. But it's not like you don't have to go in every single day for 8 hours, 10 hours as people used to do, or I used to do even. The game is so easy to play, you can play other games, come back to it, and be like, oh, look at that, I'm tournament ready. I don't have to train to be tournament ready for Street Fighter 5. Nope.
No?
It doesn't exist anymore.
Okay. That changes up a lot of things. So let's go a bit of DreamHack. So you were telling me about DreamHack, and there's quite a bit of things there. And my biggest one is that picture you sent me of a certain player playing. And I'm just like, our homeboy from Quebec decided to drop by JSP.
Yes.
UFC fighter, by the way, for people who don't know him. Very famous for his kicks. And he was over here kicking ass too, apparently. So tell us a bit about that.
I don't know if he was kicking ass when he was playing against Justin Wong, a Filipino champ. But I do know for a fact his announcement he came there with was pretty kick-ass.
All right.
But anyways, yeah, I guess we'll talk about it now. So GSP was at DreamHack Montreal, which is the second year they're running it there. So DreamHack is a very known like organization of different tournaments like CS:GO, League of Legends, Hearthstone, and they also have Street Fighter 5 there, which is why I was there.
And big promoters as well come down there all the way.
Yeah, big promoters like it's a it's a place.
Right.
So GSP was there, and he's like, I got something to announce. Obviously, he wasn't like that, but the quick to just bring it up was I was walking with a friend. This is the funny part. So I'm walking with a friend, and I'm seeing like maybe 7 to 15 people. I don't know. Anyways, they're walking and following someone. And I'm like, what's going on here? And one person is like a huge camera dude, and he's like, I'm like, something's going on. I'm like, who is this person? And I'm looking, and I'm like, no, what is he here for? No, that's GSP. My friend's like, who? He's like, and not who as in like who is he? Who isn't? Why would he be here, right? Like, why would he
What's the connection here?
Yeah. And I'm like, well, I don't know, but like that's him. So anyways, it was him. He later would go up to the stage and announce something. Now, I wasn't there when he announced it. I just knew he was there, and I went online and found out. But anyways, the details. But anyways, he went there to announce that he's bringing an esport team to Quebec, like specifically. It will be a Canadian-based one, but and I say Quebec specifically because you have to be from Quebec to even at least qualify to try out to get on a team. Anyways, they're called the Grizzlies, and it is spearheaded by GSP and a whole bunch of other people. I'm not sure who they are. Sorry. But I do know they're bringing a lot of the tactics that they know very well from what's working in the industry of esports, and they're definitely bringing all the other stuff that are here and like already from UFC.
Yeah.
And bringing that into it. So it's like, whoa, you guys are doing a lot here.
And UFC has intense training camps. So training camp that JSP is planning for is no joke.
Yeah, it's a gaming house. It's reading up on the website. It's your life for however long you sign a contract for, whatever. That's your life, and you're probably not going to hate it.
I think you're gaming, and
probably not going to hate it.
And you're pretty set for a while. Housing, food, and you got your money coming there.
You're getting trained how to market themselves. So someone like Smug is a very known Street Fighter 4, Street Fighter 5 player. Anyways, fighting game player. But anyways, Smug actually developed himself by being the quirky, funny dude. He has a lot of funny ass clips. I can show Smug to any of you, you would kill yourselves laughing. Anyway, the thing about him is that he markets himself with that kind of attitude that he doesn't need anyone to market him. He markets himself. You just shove the money to him. So this is why he's getting a lot bigger than he is. Like, he plays really good, but this is why he's getting pretty big in the last year. And he's been big. It's just he's getting all the endorsements now. He's getting a lot of good stuff. He's sponsored. But that's something that they would eventually train you how to do. Maybe to market you in different ways. How to get your own sponsors. There's a whole bunch they're doing with the Grizzlies. And it's a huge opportunity for people in Quebec.
And
so you have Canadians who are like, why? I mean, and I don't know, but I'm not gonna say that they don't have talent there for every game. I'm not talking about Street Fighter 5 specifically. It's like you're speaking from a small pool. Yeah. So it really looks like they want to bring new people in who's gonna make some damage, and hopefully it works out. Yeah, it's a great idea.
It's gonna cause a ricochet in the industry. Like, you bring a new product in the market, what do? They try to copycat it right away. And there's big players there. They already know there's money in there. You told me about that and how that worked, and I was just like, wow, quite a bit of opportunity there. There's money, there's growth, and that means that what are we gonna see? We're gonna see more free agents.
Oh, yeah. I was saying that there might be more free agents, and how you may even get the tournaments might change too. You might have, there's a lot more leagues coming up, so how would you be able to get into those league situations to play on that level? So the barrier, there might actually become a barrier. Now the community part of it is not going to go away. Yeah, that's why a lot of them. Been there. Yeah, like when it comes to like the other like esports games that are out there, Dota and League and all those other ones, like the separation happened pretty quickly actually. But the fighting game scene has been able to stay like this for the last like 10, 15 years. So it is gonna, you're not gonna be able to get rid of that community like component to it. It's essential. So a lot of the companies are actually working with that. Like Knockout Arena just had their big tournament, and they really did it well. They had some of the community members come to the event. In fact, how they build up to that event in general was actually having community members be able to qualify to be invited to this, where they played against the other big wicks in the world. So it's a big thing.
Okay, with that note, we're gonna give a quick shout out for Mick here, Mcsquared2. Go check him out. If you had a few words to encourage someone, what would you say?
Oh, for esports in general?
Yeah.
Oh man, it's a real thing. I'm gonna give a shout out to two of the big wicks in Canada, Toronto, who are doing really well. It's the Commander Bros, Matthew and Tim. They're doing really well, and they're making it happen right now. There are a lot of people who are making it happen all over the world, but it's this close. It is gonna happen now. It's happening now. And if you want to make it your life, you gotta make sure you have that oomph to back you up. In terms of oomph, I mean money. And by money, I mean like, you know,
sponsors.
Yeah, well, that and the fact that before you even get to that point, you gotta keep yourself like,
up there.
You gotta keep yourself good.
Okay, with that on note, we'll put Mick's information below. Make sure you check it out. Give him a shout. If you like this episode and you want to see more of Mick, give us a shout in the comments. Who doesn't want that, right? And on top of that, if you have any recommendations of games we should check out, me and Mick can hit a couple. And if you like games, give us a holler out. All right, guys, take care. See you guys around. Subscribe.
Peace out.
Thank you for watching. If you like what you saw, you can check out the next video here. If you're in a daring mood, you can select a random video here.
We do have people who say it shouldn't be on TSN, but it should be. It is a sport, it's competition, and there is no joke to the injuries. What would some of the injuries be, Mick?
Oh, my finger hurts.
I know it's... But it doesn't just lead to that. There's been like that League of Legends match that I remember one guy stopped playing in the tournaments, and he was one of the top team members because of the wrist. He like overused it and he couldn't use it anymore. And when I was doing research like
Carpal tunnel's real, man.
It's real and it happens faster. So you are putting yourself out there. It's not a simple thing, right? And it's like it's hard for people to understand this, but it's a job.
But anyway, it could really tell you that the transition and the stages that it was going through would take like leaps of time. Like things would happen in pacing. You'd be like, yay, maybe one day it will happen, and you're like creaking and you're walking. But now in this year alone, there's been, I could tell you, like huge changes. There's been like 3 huge changes in this year alone to the industry. And it is done mostly by like big teams that are coming in, and I think we'll probably talk about that a little later of like who's now getting involved. But just on that,
today's episode of Garth Spotlight will feature Mick, a professional gamer, and he will be telling us about DreamHack, and we'll be going a little bit over the esports. So stay tuned. Roll the credits, guys. Alright, welcome back. We're here with Akuma and Ryu. We're here to show you guys what's down. But really, it's just Garth and Mick. But we're here to experience a little about esports, and it's a big industry. It's been evolving over time. And you've been through quite a bit of this. How long have you been?
I'd say like competitively, maybe active in the last like 2 to 3 years.
And how volatile has the industry been in that 2 to 3 years?
Oh my gosh. That's a loaded question. You ready for the loaded question?
Yes,
well, I'll give you a loaded answer. Here we go. I can tell you when I first began, I was still very much so getting, like used to it. And back then, you still had like mom and pop kinds of tournaments, right? Yeah. Even still, like then, like you still had like Evo was pretty huge. You had CEO. Like, this is more in the fighting game market, but anyway. But definitely around that time, things like Dota and League were a little bit more set in stone. Now it's a middle. That's like Canada.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
It's a big deal itself.
So me and Mick did talk about this a little bit, but also I want to put into perspective the first one was like Space Wars, and it was like 1975. That's a long time ago, and this was like arcade machines they lined up. From that to going through an industry where we had League of Legends, which was the biggest pot that first came out, where they have professional teams. You were laying it down, 5-man teams. They have to train together. They need to know their team, their routine, their formations. It got that complex to a point that we have visas just for gaming, which is incredible. Like, that's legit sports now. And then